Okay, so let's wrap this lab up with our last mini section. Opening up Pro, head over to your layout. Okay, this is a handy button here in Navigate under the layout pane. It's just a zoom extents. And what we're going to do is let's lock down our map frame. And that way we don't accidentally move the map around. And we're going to be working in this southeastern corner, okay? So just use your zoom wheel to zoom in there and then hold down on your wheel. And this gives us the room we need to work comfortably. All right, we want to insert your name and our class and the semester. So let's go to insert, and we're just going to choose this single line or straight text. Okay, and again, just let's draw out a box about that big, and let's double click on text over here. Text can be finicky in this program to work with, so if you follow this workflow, it won't be so painful. So when you double click on the symbol here, that element will appear in the element pane, and then it's easier to edit. Okay, so what we're going to start with is under the text tab, we are going to start with our general options, and you can actually type the text you want down here, and that's gonna just be your name. Okay, and then up here under name I know it's funny, you're actually gonna type name, because you can have a lot of text elements, and if they all say text, it gets very confusing. So again, organization is important. We're not going to worry about the position yet, because let's just hover our mouse here and you can see that it turns into those four arrows. Let's just move it into some place where we can see. All right, now let's go to the text symbol. Now here is where you can manipulate the font, the size, and all of that good stuff. Okay, so size, we are way out of whack. Okay, I don't know why it brought it in at 60, but we are going to use 18 point. Okay, so to put that into perspective, a typical library book, textbook, is published with 12 point text. And since this is your name, it should be a little beefier. All right, now this Tahoma is for me a very boring font, and it's also sans serif, okay? Sans is French, I think, for like not, and serif is like those little appendages. It's gonna make sense when let's go over here. Okay, so sans serif is like clean text. It's like Arial. And it's good to use in websites, but when it's a title or someone's name, I like to use a serif font, because see, it does have those little appendages or whatever you want to call them. Okay, so let's just all use that Times New Roman, unless you're really stuck on something else and you want to use that. And that's fine, but let's stick to the size being regular, okay? At 18. Okay, we want it black, so that's fine. Now this is selected, so let's hold down Control, tap C, copy, and then V for paste. And let's just drag that down here. Right now the positioning isn't super important, but let's come over here, and we have name 1 in our element pane. So let's do the same thing. Under text, we're going to click on this tab. Let's twirl this open, and we are going to type in the name of the class, NRM 2403. Okay, And then let's just call that class, and we'll get the point. Okay, now under text symbol, let's leave it at Times New Roman, and let's change the size. Let's make it 15. Okay, great. Because remember, always to keep in mind a hierarchy, and in this case, your name should be the most important, and so it should be the biggest. All right, same thing, Control, copy, paste. Okay, just move this guy down here, and you can see it's already loaded up here, and we're gonna change this to fall 2024, and we'll just call that semester. Okay, text symbol, we're gonna leave all of this the same. All right, looks good. Let's do a Control S. Okay, now I want you to come over to the catalog, and if you haven't done this, there is a note on Blackboard to download the file in the videos folder for this lab, and it's a logo that I couldn't find before, but I found it now. And it's the transparent, it's our new logo, the new tech logo, but with a transparent background. Okay, so it's called TTU Wordmark, and then there's another one called Stack, but we're going to use the Wordmark one. So if you haven't downloaded that, make sure you pause, do that now, pop it in this folder. Now, if you don't see it in this folder after you put it in, right-click, hit refresh. Okay, so we are gonna once again insert, and we are looking for graphics and text, and so we want to insert a picture, okay? And as I said, we want this TTU Wordmark, and PNGs support transparent backgrounds. JPEGs do not, okay? Just a little tip, I think most of you probably know that. All right, let's just draw out our box and see how this looks. I like that new logo. The text is really cool. All right, let's double click on this fella, okay? And we are in the element pane. Make sure you're in this tab, and under name, just put TTU lockup. And the path, all of that is fine. We don't want this stroked. We don't have to worry about the position. Okay, so that is good. So what we're gonna have anchor this, these elements is our logo, all right? And so what I want you to do is select on it, and let's move it over into this corner here, all right? And then I want you to grab these three guys over here in your table of contents, so they're all selected, and let's put those on top, all right? And then come up here to layout, and you always want to step back and see the big picture. Okay, that looks all right, but I think we can probably squeeze it over here just a bit more. Okay, so let's all be the same. We're going to select just our TTU logo. Now we're going to go to position, and we're going to place this referencing the bottom right hand corner. Okay, so let's get some nice even numbers. Let's leave this alone. That was done by Texas Tech. Okay, so let's just put 19 in for that. And let's put in 1. Yeah, that works fine. Okay, now let's lock the lockup. Okay, now we can use our selection window, since everything's nice and locked, by holding down this left mouse button and dragging. Okay, we're gonna get these guys pretty tight in here. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is with these three selected, right click and go to align, okay, and align center. So that gets everybody centered up. And then right click again and choose distribute, okay, and we're going to distribute our vertical centers. Okay, great. Now, the very last thing we need to do is put a semi-transparent white box behind all of these elements. Okay, so let's lock all of these guys up and let's put our, let's highlight that one, and maybe that's where our new layer will go. So we're going to go to Insert and let's go Graphics and Text, and we are simply going to insert a rectangular polygon, okay? And let's see what this is going to look like, somewhat about that. Okay, now your rectangle is in your element pane, okay? So let's all go with the same width and height. So this is easy, 2.5, 1.75, and then we will go with, it needs to go up a bit. So let's reference that same corner from before. So I'm not sure if I should go like this. Oh, I'm sorry, that's my X arrow. So let's choose 19 for our X-axis, and let's go with a, that 19 isn't right. We'll get that right. Okay, and actually we don't need to do that because we can unlock the lockup and then position it that way. Okay, so unlock your lockup, and we're going to select the lockup first, okay, and then hold down Shift and select your rectangle, and now right click and go to Align, okay, and we're going to choose Align Center. Okay, great. So it is on the money, okay. Now, just to make sure everything, let's unlock all of these guys, okay, and we can lock up the lockup. I know this is getting a little nutty. And let's leave the rectangle unlocked. And now I want you to hold down Shift over here, select these three guys, okay. This is never going to change, okay. Oh, God. So hold down these three guys. Maybe we could do this here. Yeah, right click over here and choose Group. Okay, great. Now this is going to be a lot easier. Okay, so we want to select the rectangle first so that these move in relation to the rectangle, and then we're going to select our group element, and we are going to go right click and we will align center. Okay, great. Now last thing is select your rectangle, go to symbol. We don't want any outline color, so choose no color there, but our fill color we want to make white, okay? And obviously this guy needs to go on the bottom, okay? And let's come back over here and we are going to go to color properties, okay? And we are going to knock that transparency. Do they not give you a preview? So let's start with 30%, 31 is fine. Yeah, that's good. You may even want to knock it down to maybe like a 25, but I like that. You can read the name and it's still subtle. You know, you don't want a big white box down there at the bottom. Okay, so Doing the marginalia is tedious, I get that. But it is so critical. If this is sloppy, nobody's going to take your map seriously. Okay, if anything on your title block is misspelled, it's just a game over, man. And so make sure you take that time to use the align tools and to get your marginalia spot on, because that puts that polish on your boots, that makes you look, professional. And so that's going to be a big part of your grade. So just keep that in mind. Okay, the last thing we're going to do before we export this map is we are going to, let's uncheck our map, and I want to add a different base map for us. So let's shift select on these guys, remove, and then let's head over to our map itself, and under base map I want you to choose imagery, but not imagery hybrid, because we spent all of that work doing our own towns and labels and roads, so this would just be a mess for us. So let's put this fella on for now, and we're going to change that base map at times. And then I want you to come over to the catalog, and let's head up to the portal, and here search for terrain, and we are looking for terrain hillshade. Don't get the hillshade dark, just this terrain hillshade, and this needs to go on top of your world imagery but below everything else. Okay, now what I'm going to show you is a relatively new feature to the software, and it's really been a game changer. Before, when you worked with ArcGIS, and you can see it's still drawing down here, each layer that was a solid polygon or just a solid raster data set would completely cover up the layer underneath it, okay? And that's just the way it worked. Now you could make one layer on top a little bit transparent, but I never liked that. It just always looked washed out. However, about a year ago, Esri introduced blend modes. So instead of just painting over the layer that's underneath you, blend modes allow you, if we're going to use this painting analogy, blend modes are what, like the ancient, or not ancient, but the Renaissance painters did with very thin glazes of paint, so that the layer underneath would interact with the layer on top. All right, so let's do that with hillshade. And once again, you can see, since we have this selected, we've got these tabs open that are specific to that layer. So we're going to click on that, and we are going to click on this dynamic range adjustment. Okay, and that makes this layer more site specific. Okay, instead of spreading out all of its grayscale pixels across the world, it's really going to just focus on our area. Now come to stretch type and choose Esri. Okay, so this may take a little bit of time to generate. Okay, boom. You can really see the Yanawa staccato right now. Okay, and I want to show you the blend modes first using our transportation layers. Okay, So let's just click on the group, okay? And under group layer, there are your blend modes, okay? So there are a lot of them, but 90% of the time, there's only 3 that you're really going to use: multiply, overlay, and soft light. So in this case, we're going to use multiply and watch what happens. Okay, so those roads look like they sink in a bit. Now, this is going to be more obvious with our towns and cities. Let's do the same thing. Let's just select towns and cities. Click on this feature layer, and under blend mode, let's choose multiply. Okay, now you can really see how they've sunk in, and we can choose a different color to get that to look better. But it really makes such a difference from kind of a cartoonish feel of your map to something that looks just so much better. Okay, now let's blend our hillshade into our world imagery, and this time we are going to use overlay. Okay, again, this may take a little bit of time. And in fact, let's jump over to our layout, because when this is done, see, look at that definition. Okay, you've already got a pretty great map. If you just had to turn in to your professor, and we could label this very easily, if you simply had to turn in a map of your AOI, wherever it might be, you can use this method just to get a rough map going, okay? So, come up to share, and now we're going to export this layout, okay? Make sure you're telling it where you want it to go. I've been in other projects, so you should have this exports folder. And now I want you to call this Llano Estacado base. Let's just start calling these by labs. So lab 3. All right, hit OK. And take this raster resample. Again, make sure that's over here at the 150. All of this should be unchecked. You need this to output as an image. Now what that means is it's going to flatten your PDF. It's just your JPEG will be inside that PDF. The PDF is just like an envelope, and for some reason it really likes that envelope. All right, well that's it. You guys are going to hit export. I will too, but once I do, I am going to sign out. So I'm looking forward to seeing your notes, okay, and especially this map. And I want to tell you, some of you guys are doing incredible work with your notes. I mean, I'm really, really pleased with what I'm seeing. The best people that I have seen in my career in the NRM field, when they would go out to a job site in the field, this is especially true when I was working in southern Louisiana studying wetlands for my PhD. Those guys, they would take very, very good notes. I mean, sometimes even drawing, little pictures, and and it was a way for them to really interact with the site. So, excellent work there for most of you. Keep that up, and I'll look forward to seeing your submittals.